welcome to the Horror Hangout podcast, where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with a K, and I'm joined by my regular co-hosts, Mr.
Ben Errington.
Ben Errington, and Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello.
And we have a returning guest, a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, a TV film journalist with What to Watch, and she hosts the TV Time podcast. It's Lucy Buglass. Hey.
Hello, thank you for having me back. And for what?
Hello.
What a film we've chosen.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you back. What's going on?
Not a lot, really. I'm just in dashcam mode, really. I'm just
Dashcam mode
about since I saw it.
You're in dashcam mode. Does that mean you're live streaming right now? I mean,
yeah, I'm on band car.
Yeah.
I'm ready for all the weird shit to start happening.
Oh yeah, band car.
What is band car? Is that a real thing? Is that
apparently she does do Twitch streams for Bandcar, I think it is, but I don't know if like the character is exaggerated or if she's actually like that bit I don't know.
I saw
the channel does exist, so
just before the screening that I went to, the guy from the DCA like had a little intro to it, and apparently her role is she plays like a fictionalized and more extreme version of herself, but effectively it is very heavily based on her just herself.
Right.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting to get into, to dissect. And her weird love of compost, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. So, what's going on? Any news, Ben?
What is going on? Any news? Well, like horror news or just news in general?
Either or.
Yeah. Let's not depress ourselves. Just horror news.
Just horror news. That's far less depressing. Okay, I've got you. Hide in all the horror news. That's what I do. Get my head down. Don't know if you guys have seen this week, but oh god, there's loads of stuff that I've already covered last week. Sorry. The Last of Us HBO series apparently is wrapped, and now we got the first picture, the first look at Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. It's quite a dark photo, but some people have like whacked up the contrast a bit, and apparently you can see a clicker in the background. Also, Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, who played the lead roles in the games, have been given roles in the HBO series, and substantial roles at that, apparently. So it's not just a little cameo. So that's very exciting for fans of the game. And other news about the game, which is also exciting, a PS5 remake is arriving this September. So Naughty Dog have been cracking away behind the scenes developing that for PS5. So if you're a Last of Us fan, it's all happening.
Yeah. Are you guys Last of Us fans?
I played the first one, yeah. I just think Pedro's an incredible casting as well. I'm dead excited. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love him in everything, not gonna lie, but I just think
and from this image as well. I mean, the image we saw before was just like the backs of the characters, but I don't know. It just looks, now we've seen them as well. It just looks like, okay, I'm gonna easily like enjoy this.
Is that him? The image of him like crouched down behind like a desk or something.
So they're doing that listening mode thing from the game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're
Pick up a brick.
Basically.
Throw the
Pick
brick.
up a bloody brick. Throw the bottle.
Yeah.
Sellotape. Not sellotape. Get some scissors and attach them to a baseball bat. There we go. Yeah. So I don't. When is it? Is this? I guess it's next year. This is coming out, isn't it? But yeah, very very excited for this. Very lucky as well that we're going to get a series. And clearly like a series with a lot of money going into it and star power. So
do we know what network it's on yet? Is it what
HBO Max?
HBO Max, that one. Do we have HBO Max here now? Like I'm at capacity for streaming services, so
I think a lot of HBO Max stuff ends up on, is it Sky something?
Yeah, Sky and Now TV, I think.
Now TV.
Sometimes it goes to Now TV as well if you have that, but there's just so many. It's easy to lose.
Which one did Peacemaker go to?
I think that was Now TV.
That was Now TV.
Now TV.
Yeah. Pretty sure we have it across here now. Just haven't seen it.
I want this TV now, but later than America, apparently.
Now TV +1. Do they still do +1 channels? I don't think they do, right? No need for them.
It's just live.
I don't know.
You go onto your on-demand bit now. I was watching something random the other day. It's on like, I think we missed the start of Taskmaster or something. If you go to channel 4, it says, "Oh, do you want to just start this from the beginning?" And it just go back.
Oh yeah, it does do that
Very
sort
clever.
of thing.
Yeah,
very clever. because remember with +1 channels, I really enjoyed that episode of The Simpsons. I'm gonna wait and watch it again.
Well, you'd watch the last 15 minutes and then you go, what happened at the start? And then you have to wait half an hour.
And then you have to piece it together.
Yeah. It's like Memento.
Good times. It's just like Memento.
If you want to live Memento.
Writing Simpsons plot points on your forearm.
If you want to watch Memento the right way around, you have to watch it
Oh God, yeah.
on 2 channels, the +1 channel. And the plus one.
Didn't that happen? Wasn't there like a cut? I bet there's like a DVD extra or something where it's like
yeah, just the right way round mode.
Nowhere near as interesting.
Yeah.
So and also the PS5 update for the game. To be fair, I don't know if the Last of Us game I'm going to need to play again. I think I've probably played it like 4 times.
Not finished it once yet. Jeez.
Well, there you go. Wait until this PS5 edition.
Oh,
Have you,
Ben, remember, the mistake you've made there is I own it. I don't have to play it. No, I've got it on the
Sorry.
I'm not sure. I think it's the PS4 version that I have that I've managed to get round to giving Sony some money for, but not time to sit down and play it yet. So maybe I will do that.
I think I've done PS3 and PS4 versions. And it's made me kind of want to go back and play The Last of Us Part 2 again because I only played that once. So
I would be more tempted to play Last of Us 2 again more than number 1 because I feel like there's more there that like might be hidden or more details that might not picked up on the first time around. Yeah. Number 2 is, I know it didn't get reviewed as well, but I think there's something special about it. There's something really grueling and special about it. So I'd be tempted to do that one again.
It's a controversial one, but I kind of like the elements of controversy in it. At least it's not playing it safe, you know. It could have just gone, here's part 2, more of the same. But it
I'm
kind of
going to
went.
settle to play through both of them once. There's no time to go back. We'll march forward, and we'll get through them.
March forward relentlessly. Such is life. Okay, another piece of very interesting news. This is exciting. Netflix has teamed with horror manga legend for Junji Ito, Maniac, Japanese Tales of the Macabre anime anthology series.
Yeah, that'd be good. It's weird that Netflix do anime all the time now. Like it's quite a big part of their content, right? But also, weren't Adult Swim doing an adaptation of Uzumaki? I swear I saw, and it was like black and white. It was like look just like the art had come to life. It's black and white, and the teaser trailer looked really good. But I guess maybe they're not doing it now. I don't know. But Junji Ito, I mean, it's a very specific style that I very much want to see more of. So it'd be cool to see it in motion.
Additional piece of information: the previously announced Adult Swim adaptation of Uzumaki slated to arrive this October. Slated.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So there, if you're a fan, you're gonna get loads.
We're gonna get 2, and great. That stuff is so good. Like some of his shorts are fantastic. So I can't wait to get in on those.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. And the only other piece of news I've got is that there's going to be a new Paramount Sleepy Hollow movie being directed by Lindsay Beer, and apparently that is coming to Paramount next year, possibly. Apparently there was also an animated series like in 2017
of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah,
there was a TV show as well about it.
Yeah. I
like
never
modern day ones, isn't it, with lots of Osman about.
Yeah, I don't think I ever bothered with that, but I would take a new Sleepy Hollow movie. Why the hell not?
Yeah, the Tim Burton one is good though.
I'd forgotten how much I liked it until we did the episode on it.
Yeah, it's good. Holds up really well.
And apparently Lindsay Beer directed a prequel to Pet Sematary, and so I guess that's
just pets alive.
Just alive.
Cuddly little pets.
Literally.
Pets are it's a lovely, feel good, beautiful story of people and their pets, not
it's like Homeward Bound. And then it'd be like Homeward Bound 2 starting with all of the pets dying. Like the nice golden retriever dog gets hit by a truck.
Oh God, don't say that. Pet Sematary always bothered me with like how far is it Gabe, the little kid?
Yeah.
How far he's got to run to get run over.
And his tiny legs as well.
Yeah.
He's running for ages.
Absolutely crap at running.
Yeah.
The little kids when they're running are so bad at it. The only reason they get like insane confidence because most adults just let them win at races and go, "Oh, you're so fast."
Not me. Not me.
Our nephew, he had a harsh time. He was trying to race our dog Ricky at the time, and he got really upset. He's like, "Oh, I wanted to win." I had to kneel down to him, down to his level, and said, "Josh, Ricky doesn't care what you want."
That's exactly it.
I do. I'll be nice to you. Ricky, though.
Talking about races, right? This is non-horror news. Apparently, there's like a horse versus man race every year. It's like a 200-mile race. This year, for like the second time ever, the man won.
Is there someone riding the horse, or is the horse going to try and navigate 200 miles?
There's someone riding the horse.
It always fails on the orienteering aspect of the race.
Which one I got a bloody go? I'm just going to go over here. The Man versus Horse Marathon is an annual race over 22 miles. Runners compete against riders on horseback through a mix of road, trail, and mountainous terrain. And this is the first. Yeah, only the second
dead good
time.
at mountains.
Guess what? Guess what the guys. The guy who won it is called Ricky Lightfoot.
Oh,
born to race, that guy.
I'm light on my feet. Apparently, he received £3,500 for winning. I mean, that's great, isn't it?
Sorry, I'd want more than that to beat a horse in a running race.
He only won by 2 minutes as well.
Only? Well, by 10 seconds, I'd want £1 million.
Did he ride it most of the way? He got on its back, surely, most of the way, and then said, "Stop there." Had he said, "Tell us a horse to stop"? Or whatever that is.
He's got rollerblades on and he's holding the horse's tail and he just like scoots past him at the end.
Yeah.
I reckon he had Heelys on, and whenever there was no one looking, he just like did a little bit
motorized Heelys
down the hill. I was quite impressed by that though, and I was reading up quite a lot about it this afternoon.
Yeah.
Quite a quiet Sunday.
When you
afternoon
said man versus horse, so it's what are you gonna say, like a boxing match or something? Like a man versus kangaroo.
Oh, and every year they have a different challenge. Like one year it's chess. No, I nailed it.
Skydiving. That's a draw.
that was a draw. An exact draw. They hit the ground at exactly the same time.
Well, it's like a feather and a bowling ball. They're going to hit the ground at the same time.
Eating hot wings. Horses, really strong, but can die of a tummy ache. You got to watch them on that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
That's it in terms of horror news. Has anybody seen anything of note this week?
I did want to mention the new video game, The Quarry, that came out actually.
Oh yes,
which is by the people who did Until Dawn, which was amazing. And purely just because it's got David Arquette in it, I'm like, I really want it. So that's the only reason. I'm dead excited.
I also want it. It's my birthday next week, though, so I'm gonna ask a few people around the house.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks like it's a big budget sort of thing. I think I saw the trailer for it in the cinema, so I was a bit like, "What the hell's this?"
Yeah, there was loads of them before. They kept like doing little teasers of it, which was quite cute, and they've done it really like cinematically. So they've done like sort of like introducing people by like name and like all the big scenes, and it looks really cool. So
yeah. Until Dawn was pretty good as well, and that was a PlayStation 4 launch title. So when did the PlayStation 4 come out?
Oh god, it was like over 10 years ago, 2012.
Yeah.
So they just have a game like this come out every. I mean, they also do the Dark Pictures
anthology.
Yeah.
I've not played those.
I'd like to play
them. They're based in Brighton, aren't they? Supermassive Games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is cool. It's also got oh god, what's her name from Insidious? Older lady from Insidious.
Lin Shay.
You mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, she's in it. And who else? I'm just looking at the pictures rather than the actual thing. But yeah, David Arquette as well. Is he playing like I don't really know much about it. It looks like sort of camp.
Yeah, I've tried like not to read too much into it because I kind of just want to go in and get all the surprises and stuff. I know some YouTubers have already started like doing game like walkthroughs, and I don't even want to watch that. I just want to go in completely blind, to be honest. Best way.
Definitely the best thing to do.
It's got kind of 80s slasher vibes to the promo stuff, but I'm like you, Lucy. I'm gonna watch nothing if I can and just get in and play it.
Yeah, I mean, like 80s horror is such a thing at the minute, isn't it? I mean, like Stranger Things boom, basically. It's just had a resurgence. I'm here for it.
Yeah. And Stranger Things series the volume 2 isn't that far away either, is it? It's
July
like
1st.
July
Yeah.
1st, yeah. A couple of weeks.
July the 1st. Jesus Christ.
And then we get 2 massive ass episodes because they're basically like films.
2 films to enjoy. For a second, Ben, I thought you were really going to troll me and say, you know about the Stranger Things. You may not have noticed this, but it's actually references very subtly. Like, no more.
The 80s.
It's actually the 80s. I did watch a clip which was Limmy's problem with Stranger Things, and he was just talking about. He said it's almost 280s. It's like, do you not realize it's set in the 80s? Well, look at this poster on the wall. Look at this music playing. Look at these clothes. And he was like,
looking at Teddy Ruxpin. They're all over the shop.
He was looking at everyone's clothes and going, "Look at this shite." No one was wearing. Everyone was wearing brown things in the 80s.
True. Yeah.
80s were very brown. I was there.
Brown wallpaper, brown furniture, brown clothes. You know,
brown cars.
Washed out.
I remember brown cars. Brown cars.
My granddad had a brown car.
Morris, what's it called? A Morris Minor.
Morris Minor. Yeah.
Oh no.
Also, everyone looked dead old in the 80s, didn't they? You used to look at someone and you go, "Oh God, how old are you there?"
I thought, yeah, people in the past, your grandparents are probably 50 and they looked 80 already.
Yeah. How old are you there? I'm 15. Fuck off. No way. That's a 45-year-old man. What's going on?
Life was harder under Thatcher. All the coal mines being closed just fucked everyone off and like drained the youth out of them.
Yeah. So basically, no one in Stranger Things mentions Thatcher, not even once. So there's this nostalgic rose tinted glasses. Everything was
We've got
great.
2 more episodes left. Yeah, it's all going to be about Thatcher.
They could go to London and be like, "Fucking hell, this is brown."
He could be the final boss, like in season 5. It's like, oh no.
I always knew it was you.
It'll be like an 80s like arcade game. It'll be like Death Adder. Should like be there. Vecna will be there. She'll just turn up behind him and snap his neck, and then she'll be the real final boss.
I love it. Tentacles. Amazing. Have you seen anything else, Lucy? What? Seen anything? Nothing.
I saw Men.
Oh yeah, you saw Men.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm probably sick of talking about Men now, though. To be honest.
Yeah, we did talk about Men a lot last week.
Yeah.
I guess apologies if you listened to the podcast. 3 hours of talking of Men last week. We do have time codes in the podcast notes, either on YouTube or on everything else. So if you don't want to hear I'm just going to say the word waffle. Who knows why? If you don't like the waffle, then please feel free to skip ahead to where we start talking about the film, because you
can do
just
that. But while we're here, then, Lucy, what's your overall thoughts of Men? Like it? Didn't like it? Somewhere in between?
I think I liked it on the whole. I think I mentioned to you guys before we started recording the last 20 minutes was pretty bonkers, and I haven't really got my head around it. But I liked Rory Kinnear. I liked the different characters. I mean, Rory Kinnear's face on a child will haunt me for the rest of my life. I was not a fan of that. I was like, I don't really want to say that. Not to be too spoilery. But he was great. I mean, he's always great. Ever since his terrifying Black Mirror performance, which again is ingrained in my brain. He's just brilliant. He elevated it for me. I mean, Jesse Buckley's always great, but he just was something else, really. So I think purely performances alone and the creepiness, I liked it. But the last 20 minutes, I'm still sort of dissecting. So I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's an experience. I would recommend going to see it, but it's going to piss off a lot of people, I think, to be honest. It's one of those films.
We'll get to more of that shortly, I think.
Yes.
The soundtrack for Men's really good as well. It's something I didn't necessarily think of that much while watching it, but I've been listening to it a bit this week. It's really good.
Ordered a new Ford Fiesta as well.
Brand new Ford Fiesta, straight off the forecourt. Not a single crumb in it.
No food in the car. That's a thing.
No food. Well, I watched this week. Finally got around to it. Took me a while. I watched The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Nicolas Cage.
Is that any good?
So good. Right. Okay. So I kind of thought I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal have the best chemistry on screen since Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe in The Nice Guys. It's got a bit of a vibe of that as well. Like, it's genuinely funny. And if you're a fan of like Cage and his filmography, there's loads of little tidbits throughout. But yeah, genuinely a nice, enjoyable, fun time. And it kind of mixes a lot of genres in. There's comedy, there's kind of like action. But yeah, it's definitely one to check out. I really, really did enjoy it. It was funny.
Sure. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal can do no
Nice
wrong.
Guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I really don't watch it.
Yeah. Nice Guys is probably as good a comparison as you can get. I think the moments when it's just Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal on screen are the best, because you kind of just it's sort of like a bromance / buddy movie. But when other things are taking place, it's probably not as enjoyable. But I feel like I would easily take like 2 hours. It reminded me as well a bit of like The Trip, when it's just two guys just shooting the shit, but two guys having a nice time in a nice setting. It's set in Mallorca. But yeah, set in Mallorca.
So like a lovely holiday, just having making a new friend on holiday and having a great time
in Magaluf.
Exactly like that. So I definitely would recommend that. And the only other thing I saw this week was Shadow of the Vampire, the meta horror about the making of Nosferatu, with Willem Dafoe as Max Schreck, John Malkovich as well. Yeah, this is really good. Eddie Izzard. It's just like an amazing cast. And it just sort of shows that Dafoe needs the lead role in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, because he is just the perfect fit.
Yeah.
Surprisingly funny as well, that film. It's kind of like a bit of a dark comedy, but still.
What's it called? Shadow of the Vampire.
Shadow of the Vampire, yeah. So it's from like 2000. It's like a meta horror. So it's like it's about the making of Nosferatu, but it's trying to say that John Malkovich made a pact with an actual vampire to play Nosferatu, and Max Schreck isn't an actor; he's an actual vampire. So yeah, it's about the making of the film, but also there's this other storyline that goes alongside it, which is he's a real vampire.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I watched Predators, which is so I've been in an alien and predatory mood recently for some reason. I think the Prey trailer as well really got me hyped up for Predator.
More Predator time.
Yeah, so, and they're all on Disney Plus as well, so why not stick them on? Predators was made after the Alien vs Predator movies, and I think it was the last Predator film we've got, right? It's produced by Robert Rodriguez. Can't remember the director's name, and I think it's probably the second best Predator film. And I liked Predator 2. I've got a lot of time for Predator 2, but this one does feel like a more solid film. Like it's a cool idea. Like I don't know if you've seen it before, but the idea is, they take Predator style humans, so serial killers and army people, and shove them onto like a giant planet that's just one big game reserve.
They just Fortnite them into a thing, don't they? They literally
literally is
the
Fortnite
at the beginning.
Yeah, they parachute in. Yeah, so it's good, and the only thing is, like you said, Ben, last week, I think you hit the nail on the head. You see far too much Predator. Like Predator's really good when you don't see him, and he's kind of a mysterious cloaked presence somewhere in the woods, that's going to come and get you. Which makes me think, so this Prey movie is made by David Bruckner. He did The Ritual, and I think some of the woods elements to that, when you're like looking into the woods and like the camera's slowly zooming in and you like looking around to see if you can spot something. I think if you bring some of that to the Prey movie, it's going to be really good. But it's a good film. I tell you what, there's a really good section where a samurai has like an old school.
Oh yeah.
The name's I can't think of the director's name now. Like a Kurosawa style samurai showdown thing with a predator. I do think Predators, they look pretty goofy when you see them in full.
And there's also in the Predators, they go, Predators, what if it had a dog?
Yeah.
And you go, oh yeah.
A dog, mate.
And there's like there's a bigger Predator, like one with in like a really long face.
Oh yeah.
Really sad one.
Forgotten
also,
about
why the long face? Can't Predator and it can't get anything.
Danny
trying to
Trejo.
hunt Gage, but he's too fast.
I won't
Danny
spoil
Trejo.
it as well, but how did you feel about the Topher Grace reveal, I guess?
Oh, it's kind of cool. It's fine. I like
Yeah.
Topher Grace as well. I mean, I feel like, because I grew up watching that 70s show.
Yeah.
I feel like he deserves better from the world of movies.
Yeah.
I think after Eddie Brock, he kind of
after he was a Venom, and let's face it, Topher Grace is. I agree. I think he's a very good actor. He's not the right choice for Venom. He never was, because I feel like you needed an older, bigger guy to do it. But
yeah.
But yeah, like I think he has been done dirty because actually he's very capable.
Yeah, he's great. I mean,
You said
quite a
it was
charming guy. Go on.
You said it was the latest Predator film. That means you've completely forgotten the Predator. How could you?
Oh, God. I think I repressed that memory.
What happens what actually happens at the end? Because I remember it being bad, but I can't remember what it was.
So
What's-
there's like more Predator aliens have come in, and there's like a Iron Man style suit that looks like a Predator but made of metal that has jetpacks and more of those shoulder laser cannon things. And
Yeah.
they're like, don't worry, we'll be ready for them. And I think the little kid gets in the Predator suit or something. It's so bad.
His
Like-
dad is like, that's mine. That is.
Like Star Kid. Do you remember that film from the 90s?
It is
Yeah.
Star Kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But Predators is all right. It's
Yeah,
I'd say
Predator's
it's on par with Predator 2, just personally.
Also, because you kind of look at Adrian Brody and you think, nah, surely not. But he's perfectly fine as the.
You would never think of him as an action star, but actually he's super fit and capable in that as
Do
well.
you remember that film, The Jacket, with Adrian Brody, where
Oh yeah.
they put him in a straitjacket and in a they drug him and put him in a closet, and then he's like wakes up in a different time or something. I can't
Wakes up and he's in King Kong now. What?
remember. Yeah, it's very butterfly effects. But yeah, that's it for me.
Rounding out then, something old, something new. Neither great, I'm afraid. I saw Ben's favorite movie to have a fight with the director with, Doom Annihilation. I saw that. I think you're a little bit too mean on it, Ben. It was bad, but
Can't say that.
Can't believe you said those things about it.
I wouldn't pick on the director about it. Certainly the number of demons was, like I think they did the best they could with no budget for effects and actors. But I did like, some of the little
No
fun-
budget for effects and actors.
Yeah.
Imagine making a film like Doom and going, I haven't got much budget for effects or actors. Oh, fucking hell, just
Yeah. But
There
I
we go.
liked that one of the people they found was called BJ Blazkowicz. That was very fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Stein.
BJ Blazkowicz is in it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's related to the Doom Man. And they
Wow.
find his dead body.
Doom
So
Man.
yeah, I liked that bit. But otherwise it is very rubbery and a bit Stargate SG-1. And then it
Looks like it was shot at a laser quest in Bolton.
Yeah, that's true. You can't argue. He's coming for the director again. That Ben Bully Harrington.
I didn't tag the director when I slated his film. He shouldn't have been looking for hashtags based on his film. All right, that is just he's a narcissist. Okay, sorry, dude.
Yeah. So that was that. Yeah, it wasn't good. And then I watched new movie. I love a shark movie, and I watched new release Shark Bait. It's about some spoilers for Shark Bait. Some rotten, no good kids on spring break steal some jet skis and then get fucked up out in the water, and then a shark gets quite a lot of them. And
Oh.
I mean, I'm all for being cynical about the youth of today. I'm 39 years old. No, I'm not. 38 years old until next week. I'm almost 39 years old. So I'm happy to be cynical about the youth of today, but I don't think real teenagers are this much arsehole. I don't think they are. They are irredeemably the worst people in this one. Like straight away, like, oh, in many ways, I'm sad that you didn't just get finished off in the jet ski accident, because they're all terrible. And I feel like you can have characters in a film like this that it's kind of fun. Like in a slasher movie, you get your archetypes and you get, oh, you're gonna be gone, or there's a kind of you're a problematic person, so you're gonna be done, and the things like that. But like actually, all of you apart from one is almost entirely irredeemable from the very, very beginning. And it's like, oh, I could use a little something to like, you could be a jet ski stealer as one thing, but you don't also have to have a drink problem and be cheating on your girlfriend with a best mate and be a little bit pushy and violent as well. Like you could just have one of those things and it'd be fine.
Where's this streaming?
It's on, I forget now. I think you just buy it on I think it's like YouTube, like rentals. Like I forget.
Those, yeah.
Yeah.
Bait.
But sorry, come up and I was like, oh, I get a bit of shark bait on.
I swear shark bait. There was like do you remember the period of time when an animated film would come out and then a slightly cheaper NAFA version would come out?
Shark Bait is also a cheap animated film. But you're probably thinking of Shark Tale, right? Which is
well, there was Shark Tale, but then I swear there was there was
also a Shark Bait
with Freddie Prinze Jr., Rob Schneider, and Evan Rachel Wood. It looks absolutely awful by the animation.
And then that film goes, what? What are you on about? Shark Tale? No, we haven't ripped you off. What are you talking about? This is a completely original idea. Okay.
There you go. While you were saying that, can confirm YouTube or Google Play.
Okay.
But I would wait for it to be on a service that you already pay for individually. It's fine.
Get it on Blu-ray.
Do you want to see some sharks eating some people? That's fine. That's the thing that'll happen. But they're bad people, and they, not to cast aspersions on the character, but they all deserve it, every single one of them. But yeah, there we go. Other than that, the film of the week a few weeks ago,
Dashcam.
Yes, indeed, Dashcam. So, Dashcam is a 2021 computer screen horror film directed by Rob Savage and written by Gemma Hurley, Rob Savage and Jed Shepherd. The film stars Annie Hardy and is produced by Jason Blum for his Blumhouse Productions banner. Two friends embark on a horror-fueled road trip and live stream the most terrifying night of their lives. Well,
so in terms of reviews, so just for context, I think Host was pretty much universally praised, which is Rob Savage's previous film.
Didn't it end up as like number one on a few horror lists of like the actual scariest films, and I think like it was on Rotten Tomatoes as like the highest, the most well-reviewed horror for a little while. Yeah,
it did really well. Whereas this is the sophomore effort. Is that right? Sophomore? Is that your second thing? So Rotten Tomatoes has it. The critics is at 48%, and the audience is at 33%. Letterboxd is at 4.8 out of 10, and Letterboxd is at 2.6 out of 5. The reviews kind of say exactly what people's main issue is with it. JW Greeble said, "Holy shit, I did it. I found the worst character in any movie ever. I hated every fucking moment of the 33 minutes I lasted into this absolute dog shit film. Half a star," which is kind of a pretty lame review if you only still 33 minutes of it. I don't think you've even got into any of the...
That's not credible.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed if you didn't watch all of it.
Yeah.
No.
Whereas Box Office Odom, or Box Office Odom, said, "Best found footage I've seen. Sure, Annie's annoying as hell, but this movie doesn't give you a second to fucking breathe. One thing after another, pure anxiety, pure chaos, and just plain freaky." They gave it 5 stars. So, I mean, I think it depends on what kind of thing you're into, in all honesty.
Yeah.
This is definitely for a certain type of horror fan. Very curious to know what you guys thought about it.
Polarizing is the word, right? But there's an angle to this as well, because I feel that the polarization comes from your reaction to the main character more than it would necessarily the quality of the film. I feel like the reception to the character is coloring how some people at least, feel about this movie.
I just thought she was really funny. I can understand why people didn't like her because she had a very strong political opinion and she wasn't afraid of kind of forcing that onto other people. But I just thought it was supposed to be ridiculous. Like it was supposed to be an exaggerated version of that. And I just found it quite almost satirical, maybe not all the way satirical, but on that path to being that way. And she just, I don't know, just the rapping, which was a massive element of this film.
Yeah.
Like this constant like rapping and rhyming and like Tenacious D levels of humor in the raps where it's just all penis and parts and bums and stuff. And I even when she gets like a good line in, you can see she gets excited and starts laughing at her own joke. I think stuff like that was really, really good. I don't know. I thought she was actually really fun to watch myself, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should have turned it off at 33 minutes.
Maybe after 33 minutes, you'd be like, well, I personally wouldn't get on with this person. So that's it. And I think this is the thing. We were talking just then about me saying kids deserve to be eaten by sharks. She has a little bit more nuance to it than that. But again, I think in a different movie, this is a character trope that you lean into as, hey, this is the thing in terms of culture wars or society that we lean into, that this is a person that you want to see gotten rid of, and she's the main character, so you're going to follow her through this whether you are on board with her opinions or not. And we live in a very polarized world right now, and these some of the topics, because the time it's been made in, are things that people are sensitive about, maybe more so than any number of things, right? You know, there's political angles that she has, there are vaccine and COVID things. So let's face it, like more so than almost any issue in the world, COVID is a thing that has fucked everyone quite severely for the last few years, and people are super sensitive about it because everyone's had terrible experiences with it. So I think it, for a filmmaker to put in this character that's going to hit a lot of people's buttons, it is, for me, a really interesting move. And I think that if I look at other things that hit onto cultural wars, like we talked about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre a few weeks back now, and I think that quite cynically did it to play both sides of culture wars against each other very deliberately. Whereas I think this did it in a far more intelligent, artistic way to bring conversation to it.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that strong opinion presented in some way to decide if you agree with it or if you completely disagree with it. And also just having a character that you just generally don't like. I think it helps that she is funny, but I quite like seeing characters I don't like, especially if they are quite opposite to me. There's something quite interesting. It's like watching a nature documentary. It's just like an interesting what is this? Who is this?
I feel like that completely. First of all, I think this is Annie Hardy's first film role, feature length film role. So of course that's pretty amazing. The fact that the whole film essentially hinges on her performance, which I think is great. You know, it reminds me a bit of, there are people that I hate on like TikTok, right? Just some personalities on TikTok that I genuinely hate. But if I saw they're alive, I'll watch it because I know for a fact I'm going to be entertained, whether it's like they're going to say something that's completely like, oh my God, I hate you, or oh my God, you. But I'm more entertained by that than I am by, you know, just watching someone go about. Like if this was just a likable character experiencing all these things, sure, it would probably still be a good film. But the fact it's her. And you're right, it was funny. It doesn't necessarily mean I agree with anything she stands for in any way, but at the same time, I was amused. I was kind of like shaking my head in disbelief at some of the things she was doing and saying, and it evoked a much more like extreme response from me than it would just any old person just experiencing these things. And I think that for me made the film work as well as it did.
Yeah, I
what
mean,
do you think, Lucy?
Yeah, I mean, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It's one of my big pet peeves with films, actually, when people are like, I didn't like the protagonist, therefore it's a shit film. I'm like, that's not a proper argument, in my opinion. And I might get blasted for that, I'm sorry. But, you know, I think but this does it well because in the nature of sort of, you know, Twitch streamers and TikTok and constant going live, there are obnoxious personalities that we're not going to gel with, and we're going to hate watch them. And we're going to like, be like, oh, they've done it again. And like, like Piers Morgan, Piers Morgan said that stupid thing again. It's reality, unfortunately. So I think by using Annie and by putting her through all this shit, and then, we were watching the comments, which were great, by the way. I want to talk about the comments at some point. And then every time something kicked off, the views just spiked. And that's exactly what would happen. Because even if you don't like the character, you'd be like, "Oh, look, she's getting fucked up. Let's watch it." It's just true. It's true. You would do that, wouldn't you? Yeah. Because it's so unbelievable, and it's like, "Oh, that obnoxious band car person. Look what's happening." It would happen. Yeah. So I just don't think it would have the same impact if it was just a standard likable, I don't know, like Jacksepticeye or something like that. It wouldn't work if it was a liked streamer. But it's somebody who has controversial opinions, is anti-mask, has stolen a car, has everybody's. She's landed in England and she's ruined everybody's lives.
Slaps a guy while he's sleeping with a spitty hand.
Oh my god!
Those stupid things, and it's just interesting to see this happen to her. So yes, I hated her, but I thought she was hilarious because she was so ridiculous, and I was laughing at her, not with her. So. I think if it was a likable character, it wouldn't have worked, but maybe that's just me. I don't know.
It's a key part of the film, and I think you talk about the waking up the other character Stretch when she slaps him and so on as well. For a film which, at its heart, you could say it was just a crazy scare fest going through those things, but actually, from a character beats perspective as well, I think they touch on something that is something that we all find now as well, especially having not seen people for a few years as well. Like the relationship and the dynamic between Annie and Stretch, who obviously they had a very, she clearly cares about him a lot. She loves him and she has all these fond memories of how they were when they're in a band together in the past. And I think you see this play out really well in the characters, that she gets back and she thinks everything is going to be the same. And he has moved on and changed, whereas she is still Annie as she was before. And I think you see that, like, when you're growing up and you get older and you have friends who you used to have a crazy time with, and you do see them years later and one or both of you have changed. And I think it's the most jarring when one of you is different and the other is still the same. And I think it's a really good character beat and the relationship between them, because again, he still does care about her an awful lot. He doesn't just like, well, you don't believe in these things I believe in anymore, or I've changed, so we're not friends anymore. He finds her infuriating, but he does care about her because he comes and finds her several times throughout this movie, and he has opportunities to walk away, but he carries on, come back in there. It's a really, really interesting dynamic, and I think it's easy to overlook that type of thing for the face of it, saying this is a horror film and this is what it's representing. There's some really nice character work in this.
Yeah, I mean, Stretch is a brilliant character. He's probably my favorite, and I think what happens to him later on, I was like, man, I actually got quite upset.
Yeah. So the other aspect that I think people are going to be really put off by is the fact that it's a found footage film to the extreme. Mm-hmm. Like it takes all of the found footage elements that are polarizing and dials them up to 100. It reminds me, so the VHS franchise, I personally love. I love the kind of dirty found footage element, and I think this. I imagine Rob and Jed and that probably watched. Have you seen the Safe Haven segment of VHS 2, which is a similar kind of vibes? Like it just keeps pivoting and getting crazier and crazier and escalating to the point where it's like, this is just insane. I feel like this is like a longer version of that in the best way. I really enjoyed that found footage chaos aspect of it. I don't know how you guys felt about it.
Yeah, I mean, there were some really clever technical bits as well. Like I think the way they utilize things like lights and things like characters moving and things like obviously dropping the camera and then it rebooting was a clever way to build up the tension as well. But I enjoyed that bit. And I did love the fact it was just so junky and weird and a bit creepy. I mean, it got me kind of on edge quite a few times, which I wanted it to do that. I hoped it would, because sometimes found footage can be quite a slow build and then it kind of goes insane. Whereas we do have a slower, like kind of first act, but then the second act onwards, it's just constant insanity.
Yeah, it goes insane and then goes Well, we weren't seeing this coming. It's even more insane now.
It's
And then at the end, even more insane. What?
Yeah, clever. But yeah, I liked it personally. Like I have a weird relationship with found footage. Like there are certain ones where I'm like, nah. But I thought it did it well, and it just, yeah. I mean, it was built for the big screen, really. I mean, whereas Host was meant to be on your laptop, this is best on a bigger scale, just to kind of see the sheer chaos of it all. And the comments, like I said, is just excellent stuff. Really good.
Yeah. So in terms of cast, obviously we've got Annie Hardy as Annie, who Ben, you were saying before, she's from a band called Giant Drag. Apparently,
yeah. So she's in a band called
band.
Giant Drag, and they've always had that sort of like dark, almost sexual humor in a lot of their song titles. Like I remember, there's definitely a song called "You Fuck Like My Dad," if I remember right.
Oh, God.
Or you fuck. I'm pretty sure I might got that completely wrong, but it's either "You Fuck Like My Dad" or "You Fuck Like Your Dad." One of those. If anyone's a Deftones fan, she also did the guest vocals on the song "Pink Cell Phone," which is just like a sort of spoken word thing. I always remembered her from that. But yeah, I was surprised to see her. Initially, I was like, "Is that her?" And then Stretch had like a T-shirt with Giant Drag on it, and I was all right, okay. So they're sort of dialing into that as well. So yeah, it's really cool, and I think she's got this presence about her that is just, it's difficult to kind of like look away from at any point. You kind of want to know what she's saying, and yeah, her sense of humor was sort of there throughout, and you know, if that's your sense of humor, then great, but it definitely made me laugh anyway.
Yeah, I also got a few other people. Angela Enaharo plays Angela, mostly silent throughout the entire film, I think. And then Aima Chadha Patel as Stretch, who I thought was great. I don't recognize him from anything. Maybe this is an early role for him, but he's pretty spot on throughout. I noticed a couple of people from Hosts. Salen Baxter, I think, was like the takeaway. She was like the seance person.
She was a seance.
Yeah.
I know she's a takeaway person. It'd be weird if she was the takeaway person who delivered the takeaway to the movie and Host. If you remember that bit.
Oh yeah.
Cinematic universe. And then Gemma Moore from Host as well. She was in there.
She was the girlfriend.
And just reading here as well, just reading the cast list, Caroline Ward played the bride. I think she was from Host as well, right?
Oh yeah, that was a car crash moment, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's a great thing to scare that bit as well. I just remembered
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I just remember earlier today with the guy screaming. Yeah.
It was definitely one of those films where I was like, oh wow, I wonder how they did that. Which I think is always good when you're watching a found footage movie. It kind of like doesn't take you out of the experience of found footage too much, but you kind of are curious to how that was perhaps done.
Yeah. So in terms of plot, I saw it a week or so ago, and earlier I was trying to think, wait, what is the plot? Like what? Because there's so many disconnected things seem to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing is Annie is doing her band car thing in LA.
Yeah.
She's like rapping. She steals some compost from like a giant compost thing.
So she's supposed to use her viewers' comments as lyrics. Is that right? She kind of just like riffs off of that.
Yeah, just like she does her like freestyle rap based on words that people throw in, and she has to try and include them as she goes.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's not just her, but it's her audience as well. Dial into like the offensive, anarchist nature of everything.
I think it's like 30 or so at the most, maybe even like 13. It's not a huge amount at the start.
Just like some hardcore fans to begin with.
Yeah.
What I kind of liked as well is that when things were getting crazy, she lost signal a few times, or people completely dropped out, and it was almost like that happened when genuine supernaturally stuff was happening, wasn't it? So there'd be like no sort of
like plausible deniability for the audience. Like it wouldn't just get to a point where someone's like we should phone the actual police or screen grab this because this is proof of ghoulies.
Yeah, proof of ghoulies.
Proof of ghoulies.
So she, I don't know why she decided she was going to go over to London
I think so. Here it says she's tired of COVID-19 restrictions. I mean, they're still in London, and homelessness in Los Angeles. So she just books a flight to London. Are we right to think that she just goes there without telling Stretch?
Yeah,
I think so.
and
Yeah, I
without-
think so.
yeah, she
Can
just
you
spends it.
imagine? I need notice for everything. You know what I mean?
Still in a pandemic as well. This is the last person you want in your house, honestly.
Yeah.
Please go away. Don't want to deal with your shit right now.
She gets like a key from under a rock outside the front, and then she's like, I don't know, Stretch still keeps it here. I mean, what if he didn't? Like, what was she going to do? I guess knock on the door.
On the door, yeah.
Knock on the door and someone else lived
Yeah.
there. Oh, God.
Yeah. So she goes inside and she gives him like the slap.
Just
The wake
spits on a
him.
hand and slaps him in the face.
Yeah. And
Jesus
that
Christ.
like pure chaos. The first bit of chaos when Stretch wakes up and is like punching at the air. I think a lamp goes flying across the room or something.
Yeah, like it throws the lamp across. Because you would, wouldn't you? If you were fast asleep and you wake up with someone who you didn't expect in your house slapping you in the face
Oh.
to be awake, you kill him.
I think I just have a heart attack. I just
Yes.
quietly pass away. Sometimes, like Dennis is like asleep on me. That's my dog, not my boyfriend. He's asleep on me, and he'll like bark, and I'll be like sort of dozing off as well. And I literally like leap up.
Dennis
Out
goes
of,
flying.
he goes flying. Yeah, I can't imagine like getting slapped awake. That's
My dogs
horrible.
get me
It
all
takes,
the time.
takes like 10 minutes. 10 minutes for my
Yeah.
heart to slow down after that.
I remember once someone woke me up by flicking my nose, and it was the second worst thing that's ever happened to me.
The second worst thing. So
There
it
are
wasn't.
things. It's the
Sorry,
goose
podcast.
from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it caught up to me. So we're introduced to Stretch's current life and his current girlfriend or fiance, Gemma. They have, I think they're all organic. I don't think they're vegans potentially. Stretch also works as like a Deliveroo driver. There's one bit I think something like Gemma have like a kind of milk that, or like, Annie wants some eggs or something. She wants something in the fridge. They don't have it, or
Yeah, I forget now, but there is like she's like poring over the stuff that's in the fridge. Like, what the fuck is all this? And it is like
yeah.
lacto-free or like, vegan or something along those lines.
Someone in the
She is
office
like-
the other day tried to give me some milk from the fridge, and they said, "Watch out, it's organic." And I was like, "It's still like pure, like normal milk." And she's like, "Yeah, but organic."
What? Watch
like,
out! It's
Watch
organic.
out.
Too good for you, mate. Too good for you. It'll make all your insides all get confused.
I mean, what you prefer non-organic milk? That's
Yeah,
bizarre.
I only like GME. Like,
Yeah.
Does it? So Annie is essentially like the worst sort of house guest as well. Imagine like someone turning up, but then constantly like live streaming while they were there, looking for your
Yeah.
fridge.
Like, get out. Like, honestly. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and she's a bit rude to Gemma as well, isn't she? Because that's right. Because Gemma says sanitize your hands, and she's just a bit like, oh,
Yeah.
do I have to?
Yeah. Like she's overzealous with the sanitizer. I think I can see why. If someone like Annie kind of rocks up, she hasn't wore her MAGA hat yet, has she?
I think she had it on at the beginning. She had it
I
on
think
at
it
the
was just
car at
when she was in LA. I think that's the only time I saw that.
on the air, maybe at the airport when she was getting on, because she had a mask on, because obviously she had to wear a mask to get on the plane.
And she had what t-shirt? Do you remember what t-shirt she had on the plane?
No, what was it?
I think it just said liberals with a with a cross for it, like a circle and a cross for it.
No liberals, and like a
No
mask
liberals.
said like slave or something like that.
Yeah, that was it.
But it's almost like it's such a sort of caricature of that type of person, isn't it? Which is why you watch this film and you go, "Oh, I dislike the protagonist," but it's like it's such an extreme version of a person that it's almost like impossible to actually dislike her, because that it's not coming from a place of when sometimes films and they've got a protagonist and it's coming from an actual place where you feel like the filmmaker is making something to actively put across a viewpoint or something. That for me is more annoying than a character who's been written to sort of portray this viewpoint.
I think
So,
you say it, but this is, I think we have come off like some extreme times, and on both ends. Like, I don't think some of these are as unrealistic as like, and I know this is a character, and Annie is an extreme of this one, but there were people who you saw getting thrown out of airports because they were like, well, what if I wear this like this set of underwear as a mask, or
that actually happened. That actually happened, didn't it? Like some guy put like a G-string or something on his face. And then
repressing me, are you repressing me? It's like, oh no,
I'll wear a bloody G-string on my face.
You're allowed to be a fuckhead, but there are consequences for it. People will tell you to piss off. Like, but the same as like the Gemma character as well with the sanitizer. I think that people do, in the extreme circumstances that were going on in COVID, you do get like obsessive about things, and there were people who you would see like, you know, that period of time when you would queue up to go into the supermarket and people would be sanitizing their hands before they use the sanitizer at the door of the supermarket, and then sanitizing again round there, but they were still walking around in the supermarket, like you know, with those people. Like this whole period, you know, it's beginning to fade into our like more in our short-term memories now, but people were mad. Everyone went insane during that period, and like some of the extremities you see in this movie, with hindsight, they will feel like extreme characters. But if you think back to it, people were mad. People were insane on both sides of it.
Yeah, and I think this. I guess this film takes aim at sort of both sides, and shows a sort of a cross section of extremism from both sides, I guess, and does, I guess, pokes fun at it, which is fine, you know. So yeah, what happens after that? Annie and Stretch go out. She accompanies him on his delivery job.
They do some rapping in the car again. He does join in. He does join in. He's a musician. He was a friend in the band, and he sings along with her for a bit, but then kind of loses it when they go in to pick up a delivery. And you know, he's trying to do this job. We don't lean into it, but again, someone who maybe wasn't a delivery driver before, but is doing.
I think he does say that he was furloughed, doesn't he? Say, I think he was talking about that. Yeah.
And she gets into a fight with a bar owner.
Like a restaurant owner dude in there, or I guess bar owner / restaurant owner, and because doesn't he just tell her to wear a mask, and she says,
"Take it off." Yeah,
I'm wearing a mask. It's bloody invisible. Is what he's new. Do you know what I mean? Just one of those jokes. There you go.
It's kind of reflective of what Andy was saying, though, isn't it? Like, people were behaving like that. Unfortunately, people were going like getting their phones out and being like, "You can't stop me!" Like free speech and that. Like it is reflective of what people were doing, unfortunately. So whether we like it or not, there were idiots going around like filming like things and tweeting it and being like, you know, you can't like, you know, make me a slave and that. And it's like, really, guys. So yeah, that scene, I was happy to put that scene in because it just felt terrifyingly real, to be honest. So.
But I think it also establishes like the way Annie treats, you know, just somebody working in a restaurant. It's just like not a person in authority or anything. It's just a person working in a restaurant trying to make a living. She treats someone like that, but then I guess we also see the way she treats like her friends, essentially like her closest friends. And it kind of just shows you that the fact that she live streams all day is because she's like yearning for that sort of human interaction, that kind of like, I guess, confirms the way she's living her life as well, and sort of approves of it.
Yeah, the approval that she gets from, because she has like this hardcore of commenters that go on through that immediately take a dislike to Stretch and his partner because, you know, they are the antithesis of what Annie is. She is fueled really heavily by the adoration of these people that feed into the fact that she's right about these things. But you're right, like for, I'd imagine 90% of people watching the film, regardless of where you are on COVID restrictions, masks, all of that other stuff, there is that part of you, maybe even more so in this country where I think we are awkward and worry about what people think. The idea that you would get your friend in trouble for breaking a rule, and you know, the idea that like, oh, this is his job and I'm here and I'm doing it and my friend is asking me to stop, like for the majority of us, you'd be like, oh, I'll just wait outside, like if I don't, you know, or I just won't be here, like, and you want it to end almost as much as you want it to end when there's a demon attacking someone. You give, as an audience member, it gives you that same level of discomfort. Like, I just want this. I
wish a demon was attacking me instead of this.
Yeah, I'd know how to deal with that.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but so I think she oversteps a boundary, or maybe takes steps too far when after she gets back to the flat. Gemma basically finds the MAGA hat and they have like a big argument, and then she gets kicked out of the flat she's staying in, and then she steals Stretcher's car, which feels like just a genuine like betrayal.
Move.
Yeah, dick move. Genuine.
She
dick
just takes
move.
his phone as well.
It feels like when you're watching a character who just can't stop making the wrong decision. Like just can't stop making those bad choices. Like she's even going to go to his delivery pickup place, pick up the food to eat it herself. Like she's
literally fucking up so many elements of his life, and for what? That's the thing. It's almost like for clout.
The views.
I think I saw someone who said a review that said something about the thematics of this film don't really work completely, and I think they're missing the point. She is Angela. Annie Hardy is the kind of the demonic, evil, spewing person who breaks everything around her, just in a sort of less demonic way.
Yeah, just in a less
exactly,
shitting herself and mouth stapled to shut way.
In some ways, she's worse, to be honest. But she goes to pick up the takeaway menu. The takeaway place appears to be closed. She goes inside anyway and starts eating the pickled eggs. They don't look like particularly good pickled eggs.
No, they dare her to. Like, I don't think she was going to. But
like, like, if you cash out me this amount of money, I will eat this egg.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The COVID egg, she calls them, right?
COVID egg.
That's what she calls me, a COVID egg. That's right. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You absolute COVID egg.
And then Salen turns up and he says, "Are you sorry? The place is closed. I don't know why you got that thing. Oh, they're supposed to cancel the order, aren't they? But she didn't do it because she's got this lady Angela, and she needs her to go somewhere or be taken somewhere else. This address, I can't remember what the address is. 123 House Street,
Bake Street.
Yeah. And I think she said it's like flat out refuses at first because it is weird. It's creepy. This Angela she doesn't look possessed at this point. She just seems not completely there.
Poorly.
Yeah.
She looks
very
right poorly. And you think,
Yeah.
I think your immediate reaction as a normal person not expecting demons would be, is this some horrible human trafficking thing?
I think she says that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I think
Maybe she does, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And Annie's not the kind of character to keep anything to herself. So whatever thought pops into her head, she immediately kind of like spews it out of her mouth. So I think she does say something about human trafficking, doesn't she? I think I'd just be like, this is a like really unwell old lady being like palmed off onto me. Because
yeah. Wait, where does she think she's taking her to a hospital or something?
They just give an address that these people can look after her. Our usual taxi driver has let us down.
Yeah. But I think she offers them money. She has like
she offers to pay her in cash, right? And we know that Annie needs cash. I didn't pick up that she was apparently homeless, but maybe that's it. Maybe she was squatting or what have you. So maybe she'd got nowhere to be. So obviously the idea of having cash is very useful.
Yeah. So she takes her in the car, starts to drive her. I think immediately she shits herself.
Yeah.
And I think at that point we're like, oh,
which one?
Angela. I think at this point we're immediately thinking, especially when we see the shit.
It's a disgusting film, really, isn't it? I mean,
I know, yeah. I think at that point we're like, okay, this is the kind of level we're in for. Lots of like piss and shit and stuff. I think even Annie slips in some piss like literally minutes later.
Oh god, it's terrible because they'd already had she has a right. The only word for it, she has a right kerfuffle getting her in the car in the first place. Like when she opens the door, she like falls back out or like tries to get back out of the car. She's like, oh no! And you've been there. Sometimes it's like herding cats and things like that. You're trying to get these things to work, and it just doesn't do it. I have 2 dogs, and sometimes trying to get them in the car or like out for a walk is terrible. Like you get in one of the other ones run back upstairs, and it's like no, and it's like that. She's trying to get her in this car, and then as soon as she's got her in, she's like, right. Sit down, and then she immediately starts shitting herself, and it's like
I think she's rapping, and then halfway through the rap, she mentions a smell. And I was like, wait, what is that smell? And then she finds out that Angela shit herself. They like pull up in not like a lay-by, but like there's like a weird little restaurant.
Yeah. But is this the place that she's meant to be? Because there are people there.
Unless they circle back around. I know where she ends up later on in the film. That's where.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little place, but it's like closed.
Yeah, there is a guy there, isn't there? And they say,
"Oh, sorry, yes," because he makes a joke about the QR code, and then just like,
"Oh yeah,"
QR code. Then she kicks off about that. That's right. Yeah, there is a guy in there. That's right.
Yeah.
And then when she's cleaning Angela's, when she notices she's got an Ariana Grande tattoo,
yeah,
on her stomach, which I mean, initially when I saw that, I was like, wait, what? where are they going with this? Ariana Grande.
I can't remember. I mean, this is where the chaos starts to bubble up. There's some piss on the floor. I think
Slips in this, doesn't she?
Seem to remember
in it.
Like something happens in the toilet cubicle and Annie kind of tries to run away and she slips right in the piss. I think maybe Angela's mum turns up at this point as well, but we don't know it's her mum yet.
Well, we definitely don't know it's her mum at this point. It just looks like a
much younger woman
scenario.
Yeah.
So how does this happen? Did she start shooting at this point, or is she just fighty?
Someone just gets tossed around the room. It's really a chaotic moment where there are like these three parties. There's Angela, this woman that comes in and sort of is throwing people and attacking them. Does the guy that was in there get thrown? So I've lost some of the details.
I think so.
Yeah, everybody gets thrown, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think Annie, maybe this doesn't happen, I can't remember, but I think Annie gets back in the car and drives away, and Angela's back in the car with her.
Yeah, Angela's back in the car with her. Did she waz a tin of tango at someone's head?
Waz is a tin of tango. Is it a tin of tango as well?
It is it's a British drink as far as I recall. Like a nice orange tango, a nice 7-Up.
Can you name another film where a can of fizzy pop is used as a weapon?
Hot Fuzz?
Probably
28 days later.
I was thinking 28 days later.
28 days later is exactly what I'm thinking of. A carrier bag full of like
tangos.
Tango wazzed at is it a priest?
He drinks all the tangos, and then what's the name? The woman is furious because got any tangos left? She goes, "Oh no, gone."
Yeah. So it's a good weapon. It's a solid weapon.
Yeah. In a pinch, you throw a can of tango at someone's head, you take them right out.
So somehow she ends up back in the car. I don't know how. And
she is just in there, though, isn't there? She is just magically in there.
I think Angela's magically in there. She keeps getting back in as well somehow. Stretch appears. He's trapped because throughout this entire time, Annie has been live streaming. I don't think she's been doing any raps, but she's just been keeping the stream going.
That's how we found her. He knocks on the window, doesn't he? How did you find me?
Yeah.
And then he shows, yeah.
Oh yeah, you idiot. Here's how I found you. But also, I kind of feel like her audience aren't the type of people to alert the authorities either, are they? They're kind of like the people who they're enjoying the carnage.
Yeah.
Along for the ride.
It feels like a lot of them are in the US as well, right?
Yeah.
So again, naturally, phoning the police in another country would be there is not impossible, but there is a barrier of separation between it as well.
Yeah. There's like lots of arguments between Stretch and Annie. I cannot. It's difficult to kind of explain to people what's happening here because there is a level of manic, skitsy kind of chaotic camera motions. The conversations are all chaotic. It's basically 100 miles per hour from this point out, and it only gets faster. But I seem to remember they stop. And then Angela runs into the woods.
Angela runs off, right? And again, you talk about how fast it goes. But again, as a viewer, you have this going on and you have the live stream of comments coming up. Now, Lucy, I know you wanted to mention this. Maybe now's the time.
Yes. The comments are brilliant. I just think it really kind of keeps the humor and the pace going. And a lot of the time they were spotting things before I did. So I would see a comment being like, Annie, look behind you. And I'd be like, oh, fucking hell. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they were so clever the way they kind of kept up the pace. And actually, my partner and I went to see it, and he was really invested in the comments more than anything, I think. And he said that if he worked on the film, he would have loved to be in the comments just so he could be an absolute incel and an absolute bastard, just to have an excuse to do it and just write the most horrific shit. because they were like, when Annie got in the car, they were writing things like tits now and stuff like that, you know, like just stupid stuff. So it really, when everything was kicking off, right, like they just had stupid comments going on, and I just thought it was brilliant. So not only are they funny, but they're also kind of keeping us on track, I guess. Like it's just I've never really seen this done before. I just thought they were hilarious.
Basically, what you've done here is you've introduced the Greek chorus to film instead of like, you know, in like a theatre point of view. It's great to see it, and again, like so many other things as well. Like you mentioned, the comments like tits now and so on as well. Painfully accurate to real life. I think we mentioned the other week when Ben was talking about the PlayStation reveal of their last like live event as well. I can't watch them live because I find the comments so insufferable. Wenger out. He's not in Arsenal anymore. Stop it.
Yeah, it's really clever. I don't know who worked on the comments, but they would have been in the credits somewhere. But like, what a job to just sit there and come up with all these stupid things. Like, you know, they were saying like, "Can Annie rap?" and things like that, and like, you know, show us Annie or whatever, and like how she shit herself, and like just weird things.
To be fair, I can't watch films now without the live stream comments on screen. I think it's actually smart as well. So because I think they knew there was stuff happening in this film that people are going to be like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." But it's like a stand-up comedian who's able to read the room and is able to kind of frame what's happening a little bit in the comments and kind of disarm some of the criticisms as you're watching it.
You're lampshading a lot of that stuff by the comments that you get on there, because you as filmmakers go, I know, I know this is a thing, and I know you've noticed that, and I have noticed it as well, so I put it in there. Can you imagine in the future when this comes out on home media? Can you imagine watching this and having the comments, and you put the director's commentary on? Lose your mind.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the director's commentary comes on the right hand side of the screen in little messages as it's playing.
That'd be great. I'd actually do that. I'd watch that. That'd be great.
I did read somewhere as well that they occasionally, like, the comments were putting in like little bit.ly links and stuff like that. So they do link to random places, like screenshots and behind the scenes stuff and that. So
that's awesome.
Obviously,
that's going to be cool.
Couldn't do that in the cinema, but when you get it on streaming or whatever, people can actually sit and do it, which is a nice little
people trying to click at the screen.
Oh. You'd have to type it. Like if you wanted to do it, you could. So I think it's
a good way of adding Easter eggs, isn't it?
Yeah, I love little kind of weird little bits of trivia and Easter eggs and stuff. So I just think,
really, really clever. But narrative-wise, the people in the comments are, by and large, not fans of our mate Stretch.
No,
they're not.
The Angela's people through and through, aren't they? Really. So at this point, we find Annie is lost for some reason. The camera's on the floor, and Stretch has picked it up and has ran into the woods to try and follow Angela or Annie.
Have they had a row and Annie has stormed off and Angela has run into the woods and she won't go after her, so Stretch does? Is that what happens?
I don't know, because Annie doesn't strike me as the person who would storm off. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe Annie chased Angela into the woods, potentially.
Maybe.
I'm not too sure. But Stretch finds Angela in a tree, and I think he tries to climb up but slips off. And then he's just on the floor for a bit. And
do we see much of Angela? Do we see much? Is this the first time we see much of Angela's like supernatural
floating powers,
floating stuff?
Time she floats, when the camera's on the floor, you sort of see her.
Yeah.
And is this one of the times that the feed has been lost, so the audience won't have seen this?
It's cool, isn't it? Every time she does, like Ben mentioned, every time something supernatural happens, or when Angela's close to the camera, like we can hear the staticky feedback, and it's like the internet connection drops from the camera.
I think this is because, as established in the film Pulse, the internet and ghosts come from the same dimension.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can solve it by if you have if you're on the same phone network, that will happen, sure. But if if Angela was on EE and I think it was on 3, then
Kevin Bacon wouldn't allow that shit to happen.
No.
Kevin Bacon would have absolutely none of that.
No.
Yeah, he has none of it. But so Stretch has been gone. and you know that someone has taken quite a tumble when they fall over so hard that a shoe comes off. If you ever see someone walking down the road and they've lost a shoe, you're like, you've been fucked up, mate. You've absolutely, you have stacked it. If you fall over hard enough to lose a shoe.
I don't understand how that could happen. Surely your shoelaces are designed to stop that very thing from happening.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen people after fights and they've lost a shoe somehow. It is, yeah, things can get rough, but you know it's been going bad if you've been smashed out of your shoes.
You've been smashed out of your shoes. Yeah, that's
it's
humiliating.
This is a pair of Converse. I have no idea how this happened physically.
That never happened.
Completely unlaced.
It's humiliating as well, because then you have to do the really embarrassing bit of just putting your shoes back on. Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, the limp of shame walking down there. I always imagine that, like, looking at, other theme parks are available. You go to Alton Towers and you go on the Nemesis and you look down below and all that Ribena at the bottom. You see all the shoes that have fallen off.
I always feel like I'm going to slip out of the Nemesis ride, because we always go on the front, because no one else in my friend group likes to go on like the back or the second row or anything. And I can't be the one guy who's like, no, I'm going to be in the second row actually. So I always end up on the front, and I'm never, the belt thing. I'm too fat for it to go to like one level, but too thin for it to go to the next level. So it's like in between. So it always feels really loose. So then when I'm like hanging over the edge, my legs are dangling like two, I don't know, sausages on the end of links, just hanging over the edge. And then it gives you like 5 seconds, and I swear I'm going to slip out of the thing.
You think you're going to see your Luke Condor bones down there in the Ribena in the future?
It's going to catch me on the way down. I'll fall out, and it'll stop, and it'll catch me on the way down. I think
Oblivion, like with the
Oblivion. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry,
because Oblivion, in that moment where you drop, like, even though afterwards you go, oh yeah, I'll go again, but in that moment when you drop, you're like, I'm dead. You're just like, your soul just comes out your body, and then you catch back up to it.
I'm thinking, like, I know that very clever engineers have calculated this to within millimeters, and it is impossible because I am not short, but I'm also not the tallest man in the universe. But as you go towards it, what if they fucked this and I just smashed my head on the edge of this hole?
Well, I mean, those same engineers did make some woman lose their legs on the ride, which is like next door to that one.
Yeah.
On the
good
Smiler.
roller coaster though.
Smiler is really good. And it's got a really catchy song as you're walking through.
Yeah.
I can't remember it.
Can't remember it now.
It's an Annie Hardy rap.
Yeah.
Hits and farts and right wing poops.
Obviously, we will get onto the end credits as well. But like, oh my god, genius.
Yeah.
Genius raps when it comes to that. So yeah, round about now isn't it when the mum turns up again?
Well, before they do that, before we do this, poor Stretch has to get needle stuck because he finds Annie in a caravan, but he runs towards it and gets needle stuck on the way there, and she immediately goes into it saying, "Oh, don't worry, I'll suck the AIDS out of you," and it's just like, "Oh no."
Oh yeah, that's horrible. There, that you would be like, "Oh fucking," and then the comments just go off. Like as soon as something horrific happens, the most horrific thing that Annie would say, look into the comments, and there's like another 10 also horrifically inappropriate but hilarious.
Can you and again, filmmaking wise, ghosts and demons and stuff aside, can you imagine? I can't think of many things that would make you feel more terrified apart from being physically attacked by something. Can you imagine running through a forest and stepping on like a needle that was just in the woods? You would be beside yourself, and not just like, yes, it'd hurt, and you can imagine a needle being you're going to pull it out, but also you step on a needle in the middle of the forest. You would spiral into such a panic. I stood
on a horrible nail when I was like a kid. I was running through like a similar sort of forest, not at night, but just running through the forest. I can't remember what I was doing, but then I had a bit of wood like attached to my foot, and I was like, but I kept running sort of, and as I kept running, it would just come off, and then I realized I was like, oh wait, no, actually it is in my foot. Fuck. But it did only go through it didn't go through a meaty part. It kind of went for a skin part between my toes, so I was all right. But I did have to go and get a
extra tetanus. Yeah, tetanus ones aren't so bad. Imagine if there was things you could get TB from. They're the worst injections.
Bloody badgers.
Yeah. don't remember how. But
This
the end
like
of-
dilapidated caravan. Sorry, Luke. It gave me sort of like Resident Evil 7 vibes at this sort of part.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite interesting.
Mm.
What are you gonna say?
I don't know how, but they end up back in the car, and I think they're arguing, and then they see Annie in front of the car, which I think is like where the poster's taken from.
Yeah.
And I think they go out to see the car, which is around this point is where like another car crashes into them.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And
I don't know.
and that was a jump scare, wasn't it? You kind of didn't see.
Yeah, and it had a second jump scare like tapped onto the end of it, which is
Oh yeah.
horrendous with the hello.
She like
Got a visitor.
she holds his hand as well, doesn't she? So that a guy like flies through the windscreen.
Yeah.
And she like holds his hand as if to say like, I'm here for you while you die. It just gets worse and worse. There's no other way to describe it. Like you think it's as bad as it's gonna get. No, every 30 seconds or something.
And this layers it on. So you see a guy come through the windscreen of their car and screams in agony until he's in like a
He's on fire,
sustained and
but-
horrible way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a man burning up to death in the car. And you're right, a woman with a gun has started chasing them at this point, which is why they got back in the car and ran for it.
Just to note, there's another add-on jump scare to that where so they crash the car, then it sets on fire, and then as they get out and check on the wife, the airbag deploys.
Oh yeah.
Shit
She
myself.
puts her no
Yeah.
she puts her no liberals t-shirt over the dead body of the bride as well.
Yeah, she's a bride as well. So it is like jump scare. Plus, this is horrible and a man dies in front of you. Oh, P.S. That was their like just married on the back of their car just to make an extra harrowing scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny how it's like equal parts fucked up, equal parts hilarious, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like the fact that it's the no liberals top, and like she's holding a guy who's burning to death and being like, "You're gonna be okay," and then like the just married. That's not funny, but in the context of the film, it kind of is, because of just how darkly like, oh my god, it is. It's like, what now?
It is almost like a black comedy in that sense.
It is.
I think it's the only way to cope with like the ridiculousness of what you're seeing on screen is just to laugh along with it, because
There's so much laughter.
what
in my
else
screen.
can you do?
It's brilliant.
Is this the point where the mum comes with a shotgun again, or?
Yeah, I think this is where like, does she capture Stretch?
Yeah, doesn't she grabs him, she has him. Well, initially she's like firing a shotgun. I think when Annie was running into the woods, right? She was firing the shotgun after her. And then she gets hold of Stretch and says, look, if you don't come out, I'm gonna murder your mate. And then that's when the comments start going off again to say,
let him die.
Let him die.
Fuck Stretch. So mean. He's the best character.
She puts her arm inside the car, and Annie like puts the hand through the steering wheel and then turns the steering wheel and snaps the arm and locks her in at the same time.
Because they crash the car for some reason. I think it's because she's shooting at them and they crash, maybe. And I don't know how it happens now, because like I say, it's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, there's a really brutal arm break, like a really gross one.
And I think that's when he starts to torture her and ask her. Weirdly, Annie seems actually kind of excited by what's happening at this point. And they start to ask her about Angela. And I think it's that at that point she reveals that Angela is her daughter.
There's a 16-year-old daughter, and said like, "This is a picture of her." Well, I don't know. She's 16. She's got an Ariana Grande tattoo, and no tattooist in this country would ever tattoo someone underage.
No.
So, but she has got like a young daughter who's not an
stomach
old
as well.
lady.
I want to get Ariana Grande tattooed on me. Where? Straight on the stomach, please. There's loads of other places.
Yeah. I don't know what happens to the mum at this point. I think maybe they find Angela and they take off the mask that she's had over her mouth, and her mouth is stapled shut.
Yeah, they unstaple it, and the mom is like, "Don't bother, mate." But if they do bother, they unstaple her mouth.
Yeah. And I think it's not long after that Angela obviously starts showing more supernatural abilities and aggression. And is this when she like kills the mother, like rips her bloody head off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It happens very quickly, but her head does come flying off.
Not long after she's described it, she rips her head off, and then is this when she T1000s after the car?
Oh
that's not yet. I think
that's not yet. But that
after Stretch is dead. Yeah, but that's an amazing little scene. Those.
Yeah.
Well, they go into. Who knows how this happens? They end up going into like a abandoned fairground.
Yeah, they kind of walk through an industrial estate to a fairground.
That reminded me of Resident Evil, like a first-person view Resident Evil game when they're walking through the fairground and you see the sign above and like the rusty fences and stuff. Very resi in a good way.
And there's like a spooky. There's like it's very Five Nights at Freddy's in there, and there's a merry-go-round, and there's a spooky tree face. It's kind of like, again, cultural reference for UK folks, and maybe it's an age thing as well. McDonald's birthday parties, was that like?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I just remembered about a year or two ago. I remember Rob Savage tweeting, "Does anybody know of a fairground location?" And I wonder if that's what led to this particular scene.
Maybe he was looking for somewhere to film it.
Yeah,
it also reminded me of like a Batman villain lair from the Arkham, some of the Arkham games, some Arkham DLC, I think, where you go to Joker's fairground or something. It reminded you a little bit like that. Do you guys remember in the Mothercare UK stores there used to be like talking trees, and you used to press a button and they used to give you like a little fact or something and had a horrible flapping mouth.
I remember like talking bass fish and stuff.
Big mouth Billy Bass.
It was like in the shop. I mean, again, it might have just been this one store, but it was in the Mothercare store. There was a huge like fake tree with a face, just like in this film, and it used to talk. I remember that, and he put my hand in its mouth.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Lose it like a child's hand in Victorian machinery.
Yum 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 yum. It was weird.
Oh no, I think you must have just lived in a terrifying place, Graham. That is proper Gotham City horrors that you live in.
Definitely. So apparently it's legit. I found it. Apparently it was only in Mothercare Bristol. Here we go.
Wow.
It was called Jenny Tree. Apparently it's only a really tiny photo. But yeah, that was pretty horrific. So like when my parents used to go walk around Mothercare for whatever reason, I used to just go and knock about with a tree.
Only in Bristol. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
In Tamworth Children's, well, there was someone had a Sega Mega Drive set up, less horrifying.
Yeah.
Far less horrifying.
They end up in a house of mirrors, which is always scary at the best of times. But
we've had House of Mirrors in like recent horror movies as well, like Us. There was a House of Mirrors in there.
Yeah.
So only usually 2-word ones like Us, It. This is the film with the longest title with a House of Mirrors in it.
Yeah, you could say it's just one word then. Yeah. So what else happens after?
I think Stretch eats it. I'm pretty sure Angela bursts through a mirror and can't remember what she does to him. She bites his neck out or something.
Yeah, she makes him right poorly. She does chomp on his neck. He buys the farm right here.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And Annie escapes in the car, and it's like we feel that moment, she's got away. But then we see the T1000 moment with Angela kind of casually jogging behind, but keeping pace.
It's a great shot because it's kind of like, isn't Annie just like sort of like relaxing, almost like it's over?
Isn't she fumbling around and she finds like a joint and she's like, shit,
that's true.
Blazing up.
Shit.
Gotta punch some darts.
Yeah,
I like that scene because, like you say, you have the calm moment with Annie, and I think because I was reading the comments and I was watching her, I had a delayed reaction to her running behind the car. So I thought, I was like, and I was like, what the fuck? Stop!
Yeah, it's so freaky.
This film is insane. Like, it just honestly, I just can't.
I can't
remember. Good on many occasions, I'll tell you that.
I
can't remember now. I think Angela gets in the car and then they crash into a
lake.
Gets
through the back window almost.
Yeah.
And then doesn't she do something like she stabs her in the face with like a vape or something like that, or something along those lines. she bashes her and then they crash the car. And the thing is, like,
she crashes into a lake, doesn't she?
Yeah. Puts it in the lake, and then we see Annie gets out of the car, and then we see Angela rise up out of it like Chronicle.
That was
Yeah.
amazing. That was an amazing
So funny.
visual as well. I think that's probably the two best visuals from this film
Yeah.
within like a minute or so of each other.
And this whole scene as well, like this is what makes me sad that you see some people that from your review like that say, oh, I gave up after this after 30 minutes or what have you. You'll have missed this because some really, really fantastic like horror set pieces and some technical elements for a found footage movie as well, which, let's face it, in a lot of cases, found footage is an excuse to limit your technical deliverables and your ability to actively show scares because it gives you a great mechanism to blur it or to have just missed some of the action. But it's all in here in this one. And it's just a shame that in some cases, the polarizing nature of the character has made people kind of miss out on this stuff. And, you know, we saw some of the Twitter controversies come out like, oh, I don't believe disgusting. And like, no, you just don't like a person. It's not a disgusting movie, but, well, it is. But it's a disgusting movie because it's a horror movie. It's a shame that people miss out on this stuff because I think really, really good filmmaking.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's not even like this is the first controversial character we've had in horror. It's just interesting. There's been such a backlash. I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of hit people too close to home because obviously it's very recent and very, you know, anti-mask and stuff. Maybe that's it. But you know, I guess.
Yeah, but it's to be expected. And also, like we discussed last week, that horror movies at their best are when they're controversial, when they're sort of polarizing, and when they're sort of presenting something that's going to evoke, as I've already mentioned, like an extreme emotional response. So I feel like being scared is good, but I feel like when you're being taken on a different sort of emotional ride in a movie like this, makes it far more enjoyable.
It's the same as anything. I think there is a large debate now, and again, both sides of the spectrum. People say, oh, I don't want politics in my entertainment. Am I right? But writing and the arts and film and everything, like, it's always been political. I just think now we're more aware of it, and now that people are more sensitive to some issues, that people are now I guess more sick of it because it's, you know, with the way we absorb media now is very, very polarizing and
but it's storytelling, isn't it? Yeah, it's storytelling involving writing believable human beings, and you know, you can go through your life and not have one disagreement with somebody over your views, but that's very unlikely. So the fact that you see this in film when it happens to people in their everyday life, you know, on social media, off social media, you know, queuing up at the supermarket, seeing people not wearing masks and stuff like that, you know, these are real life things that were actually happening. And now suddenly we're just seeing it in an extreme version, a sort of character, extreme version of it on film. Like, it's no different to that.
Yeah, and I think, like we've all said over this and last week's film, Men as well, like at its best, and this is why I get furious that horror is so often, unless people stick an elevated label at the front of it, it is by and large as a genre overlooked as being, you know, trash entertainment, and it doesn't have that voice as an art form. But it is, and at its heart, horror should be confronting, and it should make you think about things. Either it's stuff that you're scared about, or stuff that should be reflective of what's going on in your society and in, you know, even with people individually. I think this and Men, a great double bill to look at that in a very modern context about things that people are really thinking about today. But it's not exclusive to that, you know, and it's not a new feature since Get Out or anything came out, which looked at it from a different set of issues. Like, there are political angles that you can take from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from Halloween, from Friday the 13th. Even there are things that you can look at from all of those angles that are reflective of society. So in many ways, if you are impacted by a horror movie beyond that was a scary person, or that was a ghost, like, good, that should be what it's angling
exactly
for.
Yeah, because some people do just want that from horror movies, and you know, that's unfortunate, because in a way, it's like, okay, I want to go and watch a horror movie and I want to escape from the real world. But it's like, I understand that. I do understand that. But at the same time, don't sort of criticize a film for not sort of shying away from issues that affect your day-to-day life as well. I think that's also a bold choice as a filmmaker.
And you can just choose to appreciate something for its raw entertainment value, right? I think you can make that decision if you want to look at something at face value. Sure, you can do that.
Yeah. So at this point, the film does to me what I talked about before. It's what I call like the raining blood moment, which I take from the Evil Dead remake, where you feel like you've seen exactly what everything the film has to offer. You know exactly, you've kind of got to grips with it. You understand what's going on, and you feel like the film is at an end, or it's heading into its denouement, as it were. But then, so Annie finds herself in a house. He's like asking for help. And then she sees the address and realizes she's in the place where she was supposed to take Angela. She goes into one room and it's pitch black, and then I think like a light turns on or night vision happens on the camera or something. There's like tons of people in there, and they just look at her and they all slit their throats in unison. That's what happens, right?
Yeah, it's like a horrible sacrifice. That's like how I knew that. I remembered that they all died, but yeah, like.
But then so Annie's like freaking out. She runs through. She finds Angela, lay down on the floor, and then you think you kind of get it. I mean, I guess we'll talk about theories of what's actually happening here, but we feel like we understand it's like a possession story. But then it's actually more of, it turns into almost like a cosmic parasite sort of thing. There's something, a giant wormy creature. It looks a bit like, do you remember that Aphex Twin music video, Rubber Johnny? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Wait, similar
no.
Was it Rubber Johnny, the one with it's the guy with a big head in the wheelchair, and he's like dancing and his face is like exploding into different shapes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And now I've seen it, I'm like, It was like that, but also, do you remember there was a like a viral thing not so long ago where it was like, this is a man who's been perfectly designed to survive like a horrific car crash, and he like could have had a huge head that went into his shoulders.
Yeah,
like, you remember that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the raining blood moment for me is just where this thing erupts from Angela's body. Oh, because Angela attacks her, and I think she like breaks her mouth, like she pushes like a screwdriver into her mouth.
It's like a jaw breaks, isn't it? Jaw's like hanging off.
So Annie's now being chased by demonic giant maggoty worm thing through a car park.
It's a big flobby, massive, like it reminds me of the Belly's Gonna Get You advert, like this horrible horrible thing that's like flabby and is chasing after a unnameable beast.
It is unnameable. She hides under a car and finds her keyboard, her like Casio keyboard, whatever it is, starts to like play it like a auto
plays the demo reel.
DJ.
Oh yeah. What a keyboard.
Yeah. And the thing's coming towards her. Oh yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, so she kicks out some bricks from under the wheel, and it smushes her, and then she starts attacking it with the keyboard, using the power of music to save the day.
Yeah, and she essentially beats it to death. I mean, you never get like a really good look at it, do you? It's not like,
I don't think so. I don't think you'd want to. I think
no.
In many ways as well, I kind of like this because I think so often in a found footage movie, particularly looking at you, Paranormal Activity, that when the thing finally takes physical form, it's like trying to play with your mates at primary school, and it's like, oh, actually, I'm invincible now, so like there is no way you're going to win. But actually, sometimes you'll just find a monster, and no matter how scary it is or how horrifying it's been to look at, or think, sometimes nothing's really immune to a clobbering, and that's what happens. It's clobbering time.
Yeah.
Immune to a clobbering. You're not immune to a clobbering.
She gets loads of goo on her face as well, like shoots up from the maggot skull.
Lovely.
And then we have Ben mentioned like the rapping at the end for the credits, which is
Sat
really
through
good.
the whole thing. Sat through the entire credits.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a way to get people to stop and like actually just pay attention when it comes to the credits, that is it.
Yeah.
And she's back in LA having a great time.
Doesn't seem to mind at all the experience that she's been through. It's not phased in any way at all.
I love it how, like, quite often you'll say, you're writing these things and these characters have an arc and these things. For me, it feels like the only thing that's changed for Annie over the course of this movie is that she has now clubbed an unnamable monster to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I don't know. I kind of
she's
felt
been
like
to
with the
England, I guess.
with the end credits and afterwards, I kind of almost felt like this was just Annie, the real person, sort of.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't
Goodness.
think the end credits were part of the story per se. I thought they were just.
But don't you see her back in the US before the credits bit though? You see her just back at home getting some more compost.
Okay.
I don't
Getting
know,
some
can't
more
remember.
compost.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I've got some name game for you. If you're up for it.
Go on.
Yes.
First one is about a lazy person who is bombarded with never-ending items appearing on their to-do list. So a lazy person and they're bombarded with never-ending items appearing on their to-do list. Lots of tasks, you could say.
Task cam.
Close, but there's lots of to-do list items that aren't relevant to her.
Oh.
She should
Pass.
mark them as
Task spam. Task spam.
Task spam.
task
Oh.
spam. Next one is about a
Sorry, Luke.
PlayStation Bandicoot character, and they keep eating out of this person's bins, and you have to keep telling the PlayStation Bandicoot character to get the hell away.
Crash. Has it been in the crash can? No.
Crash Scram. Crash
Crash
Scram.
Scram to go away. Very good.
And last one from me anyway. This isn't the movie, but it's a kind of spreadable for your toasts, and you get it from a special type of oozy skin irritation.
Is it rash jam?
Rash jam. You got that in way
Jesus.
too quick. Suspiciously
Yeah.
quick.
I love a jam.
Suspiciously
love a
quick.
rash
Have you got a
jam.
rash right now?
No, but I do have jam in the house.
Oh yeah. What
Delicious.
kind? What kind?
Well, I got you have to always have a raspberry. That's a staple. And then I know it's not jam, but it's jam adjacent. Love a
Lovely.
lemon curd. Love a lemon curd around
Ah,
the house as well.
Lemon curd
Oh,
is
I don't
one of the
know.
best
I don't know.
And
substances on the planet.
got a set honey as well. Some people will say it helped
Oh,
with your hay fever. It doesn't matter. It's just nice.
Bloody hell, mate! You're living an absolute dream. If I was Annie and I was looking in your fridge, I'd also look at it with the same level of disdain as she did.
Do you like
Just gonna
honey?
think, yes.
Bees do good work, Ben.
Yeah.
Just
The
bee
original
vomit.
workers.
Oh yeah, I'll eat your vomit. I do like honey actually. I
Honey's
do like
lovely. Yeah.
That's the least controversial. Honey equals nice. Controversial. Couldn't get
honey
through.
equals nice. You know what? Are you left wing sheep? That's what you are.
Anyone got any name game they want to put in there?
You got any off the top of the dome, Ben?
No, I don't think I do.
I'll give you one. Tom Hanks goes around the world conning people that he knows this mermaid.
Splash.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Splash.
He's conning them out their money. Saying, "Oh, do you want to come see my
Scam.
mermaid?" Give
Flash
yeah,
scam.
Flash
Splash
scam.
scam. Okay. The protagonist from the Evil Dead movies
Ash.
Yep.
starts live streaming. He's changed his life, and now he's got a family, and he starts live streaming their drives
What's he
around
call it? Ash fam.
Ash Fam.
Van.
Yeah.
Ash Fam.
Ash
Yeah,
Fam. Yeah,
Ash fam.
that's
It's
it.
like a family live streaming that he does.
Ash Fam.
And then
I know, I'm laughing. I just see the cogs in your brain going.
in a dark comedy about the Vietnam War. Is it dark comedy? I think it's just a comedy. It's before my time. So a comedy about the Vietnam
Mash.
War, and they all have some pig products.
Mash ham.
Mash ham.
Oh. Okay. So well done, everyone. You've all got 5 out of 5. Next, we need to rate the film, either rate good or rate bad. I haven't really given this any thought, to be honest. Lucy, do you want to go first with your rating?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, it's not a perfect film. Do you want like a kind of like out of 5 score? Would that work?
A to F. Is what
Yeah,
we normally go
Ah,
for.
like
sure,
scores.
right. Of course, everyone does it differently. Probably like a C, I reckon. Like nice C, just in the middle, or 3 stars in my equivalent. It's fine, it's fun, it's a good laugh. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but you'll have a good time best on the big screen. My only criticism is its rewatchability factor. I'm not sure if it would work great on my own TV, to be honest. I think seeing it with the audience and seeing it with Jed and Rob was really special. I don't know if it would translate again at home, but solid C for me.
I'd be almost tempted if I was watching it again. Now I'm not on the big screen to try and recreate the live stream element and watch it on a laptop.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Good idea.
Who wants to go? So C from Lucy. What you guys?
Are you still passing it, Luke? Do you want to go next time?
Well, I think I know what I'm going to go. I'm just worried that I'm going to be off from you guys to a certain degree.
Don't worry.
This film. So I really liked Host. I did like Host. The main issue I had with it was that it felt a little bit like a little ready salted for my taste in terms of the horror movie. It's like a seance movie gone bad. Okay, fine. This film feels like more of like a film made with a unique voice and a unique perspective, and a film that's got a much more solid identity to it.
What flavor?
And this is like, what flavor is this one? This is limited edition tomato ketchup flavor.
Oh,
like it's so specific. So this
That's
film,
horrible.
Well, some people like it, some people don't.
oh, ketchup crisps are nice. They're all right. Polarized, Ben. This
Polarized,
is the perfect
yeah.
analogy.
This film.
Jesus.
So you guys know I like the VHS movies. This film feels like someone's made a film that I would specifically like, that would tick a lot of boxes for me. I mean, I'm going to go with, I could definitely rewatch this and try and work out. I'd be pressing pause all the time to like look at the little shots of the thing coming out of Angela's mouth and stuff. I feel this is like a solid B+ for me, almost an A-. I mean, it might even go to the. I think also with we've watched a lot of A24 style horror movies, I would say recently. This feels like a bit of an antidote to that. Like it's like the complete opposite. It's just like chaos, and
it's not elevated horror. It's
almost I said someone. It's like Annie said, "Fuck elevated horror. I'm gonna do the opposite of that."
This is like aggravated horror.
Aggravated horror, yeah, that's what it is. And I just really needed that. I think I just needed some chaos, and this really hit that spot.
In terms of the word antidote being used, I just thought, even though Annie's character pushes a lot of buttons, I think in terms of antidote for me, having a protagonist where you don't really learn loads about like their inner workings or anything like that. We don't care about her emotions, about her feelings, or really, do we? We don't think they've gone through a character arc. They've started at this person. I mean, Annie is essentially the same person at the start as she is at the end. She doesn't change so much, even though she goes through a life-changing, what would be to most people like a life-changing night. She's still kind of the same person at the end of it. And I do kind of think of that as an antidote. How many horror protagonists do we get? And they're like, so we're using men as an example, obviously, like Jessie Buckley's character was really going through the ringer emotionally. And the fact that we've got to experience that, and I just say something like, I don't know, Hereditary or Midsummer, where the main character or the main characters are really going through something emotionally taxing, and then we just get Annie.
Yeah,
and I did kind of just really, really enjoy that. Just like, oh yeah, well, doesn't really matter. There's not even a moment where she like breaks down in tears or like, I can't take it. What's gonna happen?
Never breaks down at all, does she? Like even in the moments where it's got the most ludicrous parts, she's joking around. I think I enjoyed that. There's no tragic backstory. There's no smile like looking at the camera at the end.
Life,
like a little smile.
Life, and especially life over the last few years, is ludicrous enough that, I mean, what more can you throw at at somebody. She's clearly had enough, and she, yeah. But I think my rating's probably going to be slightly less. I might go for, in terms of comparing it to Host, I think I agree with you in terms of like the ready salted nature of it. It did feel like a paranormal movie, and that was kind of it. And in terms of rewatchability, I don't know. I feel like I would like to watch this again just to see all those, sort of pay more attention to the credits. To the comments, and also kind of look at all those little touches in the background. I'll probably just go for a straight B for it, I think.
Nice.
I'll round it out then, I guess. I agree with, even though the different ratings, I think I agree with everything that all of you have said on this one. I think the only thing I'd add is that I think that this team are exceptionally good at creating a film that is so of the moment, which I'm not sure like what this means in the long term. I think whenever this team put anything out, the best thing to do is to watch it immediately while it is a concurrent and contemporary thing, to really get and watch it, because that's the society that it's coming out in. I'm not sure that this will, like with Lucy saying, the rewatch outside of a cinema environment, I'm not sure if I watch this in 10 years what the impact of that is culturally. Is that, because God knows what the fuck's going to be wrong with the world in 10 years time. Like, is that going to be, harkening back to a simpler time? Is it going to be something which is no longer so culturally relevant for us? Is it going to be like generations of film viewers in the future? By and large, you can look at eras of horror like the 70s and 80s. Is this so contextually specific that a generation from now, people who are just being born, and they start to have their education into horror films, is this going to feel alien and nonsensical to them? I don't know. But for me at this moment, I think it's a really well-made found footage movie, and we are watching it when it's a contemporary piece. So I think it's useful, and I'm probably more inclined to like it more because of the polarizing reaction. And I think that, again, a lot like we talked to Men last week, and think there are things that you can reflect on from this film. I kind of spent some time reflecting on this one because of the reaction to it, was thinking, does it make the film better or worse, whether or not I would like this character, or whether I like this person as a person, or whether I agree with this person? And I think it's an interesting topic for someone who, watching it and thinking, this person probably would be a bit of a nightmare if you were putting yourself in Stretch's scenario. Like, this would be a difficult situation to deal with. And I think it makes the film more engaging as a result. So I am going to land with A for all those things that I rambled on about, probably a B, because I think really well made film. I don't know what its legs are like long term in terms of my ongoing horror history, but for right now, great, really enjoyable movie. Go and watch it if you can.
Cool. So
hang on a minute.
For those not watching this on video, Luke's being like attacked by a dog.
So Lucy, have you got thanks for joining us, by the way. Have you got any places where you want to send people this week? Any social media or websites or anything like that?
I like the way you phrase that. Where do I want to send people? Not where anyone. My Twitter, where I'm normally hanging about, is at Lucy Jade Buglass. It's just my name. Or my TV Time podcast, which is T like the drink, V pod. Time pod. I always get it wrong. And then I chat about all sorts of TV on there, everything pretty much. We've just done a Catfish episode, great reality TV series. And then I've got Buffy on the way as well, so we've got a lot going on over there. So it should be a good one.
I've been watching a lot of Buffy.
Buffy's great. Yeah, now that's rewatchable.
Yeah. Next week, I can't remember what we're doing next week. Are we doing
Black Phone or Freddy?
Freddy next week, I think.
Freddy 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Welcome to prime time, chaps,
fellas. Yeah, that'd be good.
Thanks for listening then. You can become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout, where you can get early access episodes, bonus content, and some free stuff. Thanks to our current patrons: Elaine Spencer, John Crinnan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rugby, Ollie Child, Julia Bilgren, Leslie Carlo, and Pazuzu. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review. And we will, if it's a positive review, read it out on the show.
Yeah. It's a negative one. We'll talk about you in private.
Which is worse.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Who knows what you're saying? You'll never know. Yeah. Cheers, Luke.
Thanks much for joining us, Lucy, and thanks, guys. See you soon.
Pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.